Kilo404 here. I'll make a quick video in response to some of the comments made by Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn, with them talking about wanting to fight Wilder in April, and all of a sudden, after being basically force-fed Wilder's name, coming out saying that's the fight he wants. First of all, I want to say shout out to the LDBC. Welcome back to my subscribers. Welcome back to repeat viewers. Welcome to the channel if you're here for the first time. If you haven't subbed to the channel, I ask that you please subscribe. If you're feeling my content, please like, share, and comment as well. You know, after that after that fight, when they got the interviewing AJ, you know, it took for the guy from the Zone to actually pretty much suggest that he needs to say he wants to fight Wilder. You know, he came out, you know, wanted to give a shout out to Eddie Hearn. The fans booed. Those weren't U.S. fans over there booing Eddie Hearn. Those were UK fans booing Eddie Hearn. Then he started talking about wanting to have a poll to see who the fans want him to fight. And once he finally said Wilder's name, the crowd went wild. Once again, not U.S. fans, UK fans. And part of the whole thing that, you know, narrative that they tried to push early on was that Wilder had no profile in the UK. Actually tried to act as if he didn't have a profile in the US. But yet and still, we saw what the response was when Wilder went over there to call out Tyson Fury. All the love and adoration he got from UK fans. We also saw the response from the UK crowd at Anthony Joshua's own fight when Wilder's name was mentioned. You know, whether you want to try to chalk it up and say, well, oh, they're only cheering because they want him to knock Wilder out, or they hate Wilder and they want to see him lose. Whatever it is, they know who the man is. They're clamoring for that fight just like we are over here. So with that said, Anthony Joshua himself should be clamoring for that fight. They shouldn't be going into some kind of, you know, power play trying to act as if Wilder has to have a signed contract and agreement in place prior to his fight with Tyson Fury, which is what they're trying to do. You know, the bottom line, in my opinion, when AJ talks about a lot of these other fighters, when he talks about Dillian Whyte, he lights up. He's enthusiastic about that fight. He was enthusiastic about the Povetkin fight. He was enthusiastic about fighting Joseph Parker. He was enthusiastic about Carlos Takam. And prior to that, he was enthusiastic about fighting Pulev. But every time Wilder's name comes up, AJ turns into Captain O.G. Reedmore from the old 80s cartoon, 80s Saturday morning cartoon, and starts talking in riddles. Riddles and soliloquies. You know, he does and says everything but, yes, I want that fight. I want that fight next, and we're going to do what we have to do to make that fight happen. It's only when put under a certain amount of pressure that he goes ahead and starts saying, oh yeah, I want that fight. We don't want any other fights. This is the only fight we want. And my stance on that is, if that was really so, there wouldn't have been this push for, you know, Dillian Whyte. And that's pretty much what Eddie Hearn has been doing, is saying that, you know, he keeps coming back to Dillian Whyte. And it seems to me that's all they've ever tried to do from the start, is to get Dillian Whyte in a position where it's attractive for him and AJ to have a rematch. You know, even with the talks of putting Dillian Whyte in with Deontay Wilder, you know, going back even over a year ago, it was all in hopes that Dillian Whyte could somehow beat Wilder, and then AJ and Dillian Whyte have a rematch for the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship. But I'll go on record as saying, I've said this before, at any point Dillian Whyte ever fights Deontay Wilder, the fight's going to end very badly for him. Dillian Whyte is not on Deontay Wilder's level in no way, shape, form, or fashion. He may not even be on the level to where he can do much more with AJ than he did the first time. You know, but then again, he may be good enough to upset the apple cart and beat AJ in a rematch. But the reality is, that's not the fight the fans are asking for. No one was asking for that Povetkin fight. No one's asking for Dillian White to get a rematch. The fans have spoken. The fans want Wilder versus Joshua. Wilder wants that fight. His offer of $50 million guaranteed to Anthony Joshua, 50-50 split on the back end money, says, I want the fight. Every offer to Deontay Wilder says, we don't want the fight. When you offer a man $12.5 million flat, no back end money, for a fight of that magnitude, that says you do not want to fight. When you do the same thing, when you come back to the table again, you upped it $2.5 million and now you're offering $15 million for a fight of that magnitude, and you're still saying no back end money. That screams we don't want to fight. That screams we don't want to fight, but we will take the fight if you allow us to keep all of the extra money. If you allow us to keep all of the back end money, we'll take the fight. And I feel like that is what Joshua was thinking when he said, oh, if you think it's a $100 million fight, then give me $50 million up front, we'll split it 50-50. He thought that was an unrealistic expectation. He thought he was asking for something that was out of the realm of possibility. Wilder reached out to his people. They made a power play. They came back and said, okay, you want $50 million up front, we'll give you that. And not only will we give you that, we'll give you 50% of anything this fight does over $100 million. And what happened? AJ suddenly clammed up and decided that he didn't want that anymore because he didn't think it was real. And once he realized that it was real and that he actually would have to take that fight and actually face Wilder to get that, he no longer had interest in it. And then it went back to, well, we'll make offers that give us all of the back end money. But once again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. There is very little enthusiasm when it comes to him facing Deontay Wilder or even mentioning the man's name. Anthony Joshua acts as if he feels like if he says Deontay Wilder's name in the ring, that Deontay Wilder's going to just appear out of a cloud of smoke and confront him face to face. And he seems to be that afraid of facing that man mano a mano. And that is why they didn't want Wilder coming over there for that, to do that, to get in the ring when they were acting as if they wanted to fight next. And that's the same reason why he was hesitant to speak Deontay Wilder's name until Deontay Wilder got a fight with Tyson Fury agreed to. Then all of a sudden, it's Deontay Wilder. That's all him and her want to talk about. But the reality is, Deontay Wilder isn't going anywhere. He's right there. If you want that fight, the fight can be made. You need to make an offer that says you want the fight. But as long as they're coming with these flat fee offers, that's a non-starter. I like the stance Shelly Finkel has said, has put himself in. Shelly Finkel is standing on, if you want to fight, if you're serious about it, make us a serious offer and we'll start talking. And that's the attitude I would have. If I'm trying to make a business transaction and you're offering me some lowball offer, all that tells me is you don't even want to talk. When you make an offer that makes sense or comes close to making sense, then we can start talking. But if you're making offers that make zero sense, have no substance behind them, I don't want to talk to you. Until you come close to what's acceptable, we're not even talking. And that's what Shelly needs to stand on. Anything that has a flat fee in it, they shouldn't entertain. Anything that is less than what Joseph Parker was given, as far as a percentage split, they should not entertain it, in my opinion. That fight is only as big as it is because of both of those guys. I care not what Deontay Wilder's biggest purse has been up to date. I do not care what Anthony Joshua's biggest purse was to date. The reality is that fight is as big as it is. However big that fight ends up being, it's that big because of both of those guys. Their names together make that fight that big. So both guys need to get a respectable split of revenue on that fight to make it happen. And if it doesn't happen, then if that doesn't happen, then the fight won't happen. And no one can blame anyone except for the person making the offer. You know, and that's where it is. But like I said, AJ needs to act like a man when someone asks him about Wilder. He needs to blow his chest up and say, hey, yeah, I want that fight. This is what we're going to do to make the fight happen. This is how serious we are about making the fight. You cannot start talking in riddles. You cannot turn into Captain Nosy Reed more when they ask you, whenever this man's name is spoken. On that, I'm about to get out of here. Once again, shout out to the LDBC. Shout out to New Media. And I'm out. Peace.